Hi Year 4, I hope you're all really well and you have had a lovely weekend. Welcome to the last week of home learning before we are all together again, hopefully. So we are going to be looking at finding hundredths on a number line today because we left our learning on hundredths last week. And well done for tackling those really tricky concepts because it can be quite a difficult part of place value to understand, but you've all done really, really well. So if you would like to pause the video here and have a go at our starter, we're going to be looking at rounding, and we're looking at rounding to the nearest 10. Now, if you're going to be rounding to the nearest 10, you're going to need to look at the ones column to help you do your rounding, okay? And if you would like, there is a challenge here to see if you can round to the nearest whole number. So we've got some decimal numbers here, and challenge yourself to see if you can round to the nearest whole number. So think about where your tenths are and where your hundredths are in relation to the next whole number. Okay, so good luck, and I'll see you when we come back. Hi everyone. Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you've all gotten okay with this rounding. Let's work through it together now. So the first number we have is 7,899. Now, if we were rounding to the nearest 10, again, we need to look at our ones column. Now I can see that it's 9, so that's above 5, so I need to round upwards. But I'm not going to round upwards to 90 because that would be me rounding down. So actually, if I was going to round upwards to the nearest 10, that's going to mean that I've got to 100. So I'm going to need to actually change my hundreds column here. So it's actually going to be 7,900 because the nearest 10 would, rounding up to the nearest 10 would take me to 900. Okay, then we've got 3,435 here. So we are going to end up with 3,440 because it's 5 in my ones column and my next 10 is 40. So I'm going to go upwards. And I've got 2,322 here. So my nearest 10, because it's 2, I'm going to be rounding downwards. So I would end up with 2,320. And my next number, 5,656. So here, my number is going to be 5,660 because I've got 6 in my ones column. So I'm going to round upwards and my nearest 10 is 60. Then last but not least, I've got 7,676. So I'm going to round up to 80. 7,680 because I've got 6 and my nearest 10 is 80. Okay, so let's have a look at these decimals here. Well done if you got all of these right. Let's have a look at some slightly more trickier bits of rounding. So I've got 0.8 here, so I'm going to have a look at my tens column. I know that there are 10 tenths in a whole. So if it's 0.5 and above, then I know that I can round it to 1 because 1 is going to be the first whole number that I have because I don't have any other whole numbers in here, okay? So I've got 0.8, so I'm going to my whole number 1, or I could even write it as 1.0 for this exercise here. Now I've got 3.5 here, so thinking about what I just said, if it's 0.5, then you need to round up to the next whole number. So I've got 3.5, my next whole number would be 4, so I'm going to write that as 4, or you could just put 4.0 for this exercise just to be clear that you've got no tenths here. And then I've got 36.25. So it's a little bit more tricky here because I can see I've got my hundredths column as well as my tens. Now, I've got 36 here, so my next whole number, if I'm going to round up, is actually going to be 37. But here I can see that in my tens column, I have only got, I've only got 2 tenths, okay? If I had 5 tenths, then I could round up. Even though I've got 5 hundredths here, I've only got 2/10, so I actually need to round down. So I would just round it down to 36 or 36.0, which is my whole number. So well done if you've got those correct there. So with this lesson today, what you can do is you can pause and have a go at these before we go through them together, or you can just go through them with me as we are going to now. So I want you to continue this number line counting in hundredths. So remember, when you were doing tenths, you would write it as 1/10 and so on. So here they have done 1/10 and 1/100th and then 2/100ths. So what do you notice as well about the way that this number line is slowly progressing, and how would you write your hundredths as a decimal? Now if 1/10 is equal to 0.1, remember we said that 1/100th is 0.01, okay? So I'm going to have a go and fill in this number line, and then hopefully when you come back, you will have the same as me. So notice what it's jumping up in. You might want to write this out in your exercise book. You could write the fractions on the bottom and the decimals on the top. That is what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'll see you in a moment. Okay, welcome back everyone. I hope you all got on okay with that. So hopefully you would have noticed that each time with your decimals, the hundredth would have increased by 1. So another hundredth would have been added. So here I've got 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, and then at the bottom, and I've gone on continuously until finally I have reached, I didn't write them all here, but it would have been 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, and we've got 0.09. And then when I've got to 10/100ths, I know that in a tenth, there are 10/100ths. Okay, so when I've got 10 that make my square, that make my tenth, I'm going to write that as 0.1 because I have now got a tenth. Okay, so 10/100ths are equal to a tenth, so I just write it as 0.1. Okay, and then I have done the same here, and I've written that 10/100ths as a fraction, and again 10/100ths is equal to 1/10 up here. Okay, so I hope you've all gotten okay with that one. So here is our next one here. So you need to find the missing hundredths on the number line. Okay, so this one is fairly easy. So we've got our 1/10 here, as I said before. So have a go and then you can come back. So I'll pause the video now, but you might notice by what is missing and by what the number line is increasing by each time. Okay, so have a look at these two and then you'll be able to find out what the missing parts are. Okay, so pause the video here if you would like to have a go. Okay, welcome back. We have got here, so let me just reveal 0.01, 0.03, 0.05, 0.07 and 0.10. Okay, so you could also write it as that, so 0.10, or you could just write it as 0.1 here. Okay, right, that one was a fairly simple one, but here we need to find the hundredths missing on this number line. Okay, so we've actually got tenths in this one, but we are focusing on the hundredths and what those are going up by each time. So take a look at these two and think about what could be in the middle by how far apart the hundredths are here. Okay, and you've got 0.3 as a whole number here. So have a go at filling in the missing parts on this number line. Okay, so hopefully you would have noticed that we've got 0.28 here and 0.30 here. Okay, so hopefully you would have thought, well, 0.29 could be in the middle of these. So that's right, we've got 0.29. So from this, you could see that it is increasing by 1/100th each time. So hopefully here you would have written 0.27. And it's slowly, the hundredths is slowly increasing until our tenths finally change, because here we only need one more hundredth for it to become 3. 3/10, okay, because this has made a whole tenth here, because there are 10 hundredths in a tenth. And then hopefully you would have written 0.31, 0.32, 0.33, and then lastly we've got 0.34. So well done if you found that one okay. Okay, so here we've got another what's the length on this ribbon. So I know that some of us found this a bit tricky in school, and even that we were counting from 0, even though the ribbon didn't start at 0, or we wrote 0.07 without counting because this is where the ribbon ends. But we need to remember to start from where the ribbon is. So we can find out how much one of these spaces is worth, so how many tenths or hundredths. So here we can see that it is increased by 1/100th. So we know that each of these is worth 1/100th. And then we need to count on the number line how many hundredths this ribbon measures up against. Okay, so let's have a look here. We can see that this whole number line, so this whole measurement line, is 1 whole. So let's have a look and count up and see what the length of this ribbon would be. Pause if you want to have a go on your own, but otherwise you could do it with me now. So I've got 1/100th, 2/100ths, 3/100ths, 4/100ths, 5/100ths. So the length of this ribbon is 5/100ths, and that is what it looks like as a fraction, but it is actually going to be 0.05 as a decimal, okay? And one thing you might notice is that it measures up to 0.07 on here, but there are 2 hundredths that are missing that you cannot count here because the ribbon has not started from 0. So you could always see where it measures up to on here and take away the hundredths that are here. So you could subtract 0.02, so take away 2 hundredths from 7, and you would be left with, here first, you would be left with 0.05. So that's just another way of looking at it. So well done if you got that one right. But we need to remember, we need to just count the hundredths from where the ribbon starts, not from 0. Obviously, if the ribbon starts on 0, then that's where we're going to measure, because that is where the ribbon starts. But on this occasion, it has not. It has started at 0.02. So I want you to complete this sequence here. Again, it is quite similar to the others. And can you write the fractions into decimals as we move along? So off you go. Pause the video here and have a go at writing this sequence. Okay, so hopefully you've ended up with something similar to this. So you would have noticed that it goes up by 100th each time. So your missing one should have been 29 100ths and 30 100ths. And then be careful not to write 3 100ths here and get it confused with that it's actually now 3/10ths, okay? And then you would have had 32 100ths. And if you had a go at writing them as the decimals, it would have looked like this. Now remember, you can write 0.3 or you could write 0.30 if it's easier for you to count on from there. So well done for having a go at that one. Okay, this is our last activity before you go off and do your worksheet, okay? And you've got to fill in the number line. So you need to make sure that you have counted up to make sure that you find out how many hundredths are in each jump, okay? So have a look, you've got 0.5 here and 0.55 here. So you've got 5/10ths and now you've suddenly got 5 hundredths as well. So think about how many hundredths are in each jump and then place these on the number line, and I'll see you when you get back. Hi, welcome back. So hopefully you would have got something similar to this. So you would have noticed that each time it is going up by 100th again. So we have got 0.51, 0.52, 0.53, 0.54, 0.55 and 0.56 till eventually it would go up to 0.6. Okay, so that is the last activity that we are going to do together. Now you are going to go off and do your worksheet. There's a range of things on there, including mathematical reasoning, so make sure that you are giving your reasons for your answers. So why do you think something is a certain way? Okay, and if you would like any additional challenges to have a go at, then I have got some that I can send you if you would like. So feel free to give me an email if you want some things that are a little bit more challenging. Okay, so good luck, take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.